Now, they're pressing forward. Again, this entire book is them either pressing forward, or you're going to see quickly that it becomes them trying to leave once they're surrounded. Back to the book. Baker 1-7 took point and marched for more than an hour without any sign of the Chinese. A single file of each of us on the side of the road, the men moving easily. So they're pushing forward and nothing's happening all of a sudden. Don't like this one damn bit, Lieutenant Owen, O'Brien said to me. He was a reservist, combat experienced from the Pacific War. It isn't natural for the gooks to let us move up this easy. We're walking into their trap. All I know is that MacArthur says the 1st Marine Division is going to go for the Yalu River. I said the Yalu River was North Korea's border with China. So they've been ordered, hey, you're going to the Yalu River. And pretty much they're all saying at this point, they all kind of feel like it's a trap. But they're walking. They're not getting any resistance. Back to the book, the troops were in good humor. They joked and laughed as we marched and made obscene comments about the things that were central to their lives. The chow, the terrain, the enemy, the lack of women. Second thing I'm going to do when I see my wife again is take off my pack, said one of the married reservists in the column. Oh yeah, came the answer. By the time you see her again, you'll forget what the first thing was. Hell, it'll be so long before we get back stateside, you'll be too old for that stuff. Someone else joked to the married man who was nearly 30 years old. I'm telling you, guys, keep up the good spirits. And that is, it's impossible. You know, I got to include this because I always had fun on deployments. I was saying this the other day. We laughed out loud like once a day in Iraq. Laughed out loud, hysterically at something. So for those of you that are civilians or don't have any comprehension of this kind of thing, guys that are in the military, they have a good time. Even in the worst situations, we have fun. You have to. And, you know, you can apply that to your job when things get stressful, when things start getting hard. As a leader, if you're just bearing more stress on everybody, it's not going to help. One of the best ways to alleviate stress is to have some fun, and that's exactly what's going on here. The guys are on patrol. Okay, we're not getting shot at, so guess what? Let's bust this guy's ass about missing his wife. No problem. That alleviates some of that stress. You don't need to just bear down and create more stress on your people. And I've been asked that. A couple of people have asked me that on social media. Can you tell us about, you know, humor as a leader? When do you use humor? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. We always have fun. And, you know, there's obviously a time to be serious, but there's plenty of time when you're going to joke around and have fun and poke fun at each other all the time.
Yeah. Do you ever run into like situations where, you know, some people, they just joke more than other people. Yeah. And then there's, the opposite guys joke less. You ever run into a situation where you are serious and then someone's like trying to make jokes, you know, and it does get annoying or in the way of.
I don't know that people, when I'm serious, I don't get a lot of jokesters in the game with me. I'm saying most of the time and I think there's a pretty, I mean, maybe that happens in a school setting, you know, or I guess in a business setting it could happen. But if you got a good team that works a lot together, people know when it's serious and when it's not, you know. And once you tell a joke or you crack a wisecrack and nobody laughs and you just get a look from people going, "Hey man, shut up." That's it, you know. So maybe that's happened to me a dozen times in my career where somebody said something. It's everyone just said, "Okay, we're enough," and everybody feels it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine, too, working that close with important tasks like that important, people are going to be pretty much in tune with the comedy dynamic.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, I had a guy that I worked with when I was the admiral's aide, and he was older than me. He was actually retired captain. He's one of my favorite guys. But I was the admiral's aide, so I was a young lieutenant, and he was a retired captain. Mm-hmm. And we would go back and forth all day long, regardless of what the situation was. We would never say a serious thing to each other the entire day for months on end. Nothing, everything was a sarcastic kind of comment to each other. And it made a pretty miserable job of being the Admiral's aide. It's not a fun job. It made it like we just had a good time. So once again, we're even in a situation where, hey, I'm in a uniform in an office all day from 6 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night every day, day on day. You know, in the military and in the civilian world, when you come back from a trip from somewhere, they're like, you were on a trip. Hey, don't come in tomorrow morning. You come in a little bit late because you got back at midnight. You're the Admiral's aide. No, you're coming in at 6. That's the way it is. There's no break. Oh, you haven't seen your family in 2 weeks? That's cool. We'll see you at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Oh, you want to take your daughter to school? No, not happening. Good. So it's like that. And yet, I had this one guy that I worked with who we just never said anything serious to each other, and it always kept it light and fun, and that was pretty awesome.
Was that? Thinking back, do you think that was on purpose? Or did it just kind of shake itself out like that?
It just shook itself out. You know, we just had funny, the way our relationship was we were just two guys that like to give each other a hard time about stuff and set each other up for stuff. And just we both knew. I mean, he was under a stressful job as well. You know, he's got a lot of pressure on him. And so what are we going to do? Sit there and be miserable all day? No, you know what? We're going to have a good time, even in this, you know, fairly miserable administrative scenario that we're living in. We have a good time with it.
Because some people do it on purpose where it's like, oh, dang, things are getting real tense here at work or whatever. Then so they'll throw in jokes. They're going to be on that fine line between, okay, right now things are tense. Why'd you say that joke? That's inappropriate. And the other side, which is like, it helps. You know, sometimes
and like this guy and I, we would be, even in the really stressful situation where no one else was joking, I might shoot him a look across the room and roll my eyes at him like, you didn't see this coming, did you, tough guy? And we would just be laughing. So even in the really stressful stuff, we would lighten it up. But that's because, that's the personalities that we had.